What's up guys, I'm Tom from Fate Farms PA, and today we have a really cool video. It's something I've been looking into for a long time. So if you follow our channel, we had a lot of land restoration on this property. We bought 50 acres and just restored it from the ground up. It was old farm property. So I'm gonna show you over here what we're dealing with, and then I want it to end up looking like over in the other pasture. I have about 50 hours, give or take, on clearing this small section of field. So I'm hoping that this Diamond Pro X2 mower is gonna accomplish all my tasks much faster. Let's check it out over here. So you can see in the background, there's a lot of privet and overgrown little shrubs and trees and stuff like that. And that's just what happens. You know, my buddy always says that nature always wants to return to its original state. So we're constantly maintaining fields, maintaining property. If you let it go, it grows in. So I wanna walk over here and we're gonna check out what this was like. Probably about 2-3 years ago, we bought this property, and that field that I just showed you looked like this all the way across here. There's about 15-acre section here. We have it all fenced in for the horses. We got with a neighboring property here. Neighboring farm just started up, purchased it, and they want to get into animals too. So we're hoping to use this pasture for, you know, turning animals out on, and we want to clear this out and restore it maybe for hay or something like that in the future. So I'm going to throw the drone up real quick here. You could check out what we're dealing with, and then once we get it all cleared out, we're hoping that it's going to start looking more like this right here. So before we jump into this video here, we're going to walk around this machine here real quick and just check it out. So this is from Diamond. It is the Pro X2, comes in a 60-inch and a 72-inch. And I've dealt with multiple people from their team, and they're super, super helpful. But something that really stood out to me is, look where it's made, guys. How awesome is that? The industry and stuff like that's coming back into the United States and putting out products that are just phenomenal. So we're gonna walk around. This is attached, the carrier is a YANMAR TL 100. It's the VS. I have a video I'll leave down in the link or description of me demoing this machine. I demoed this through Pro Power Equipment, and we ended up liking it so much we actually purchased it. It was supposed to be a demo just because it came out new to the market, and it's just such a phenomenal machine. We ended up purchasing it to put it in our fleet. So this machine is still pretty new. It has less than 30 hours on it. I was trying to keep everything clean and fresh looking for this video here, but this mower right here is set up with all the pressure gauges and stuff, and there's a video. If you purchase one of these or rent one of these, it has to be calibrated to each carrier. Each machine is different. This one is a 40-gallon high flow machine. So we had our friends over from Stevenson Equipment to come out and calibrate the whole machine for us. They have the drum all calibrated. There's certain specific settings you have to do with this machine to make sure that it's safe. So before we get in this machine here, the last thing I want to just mention is, if you're going to operate something like this, make sure you are in the proper equipment to be safe. You're going to see how aggressive this machine is, and you need to have a demo door on there just to be safe, guys. Do not operate one of these without one. So the trick is to keep the RPMs up. I'm watching a pressure gauge here from the cab. You want to like maintain right around 1,000 PSI. When you start putting things under a load, is whenever you need to let the momentum start building up. So now, like right here, I'm cutting here. Things are starting to spike up to around 3,000, and now I'm letting the drum catch up. Look at this quick 10-minute little restoration here with that mulching head, and look what it does to the stuff. It just grinds it up, and then it'll just filtrate back into the ground. Now you can keep grinding it up more and more and more, but if you noticed, I've not really dug into the dirt, and that's what I do. I don't want to do that, because then you're going to start ripping up the sod and stuff like that. So we could go back over this again, and this is what this little gadget here on the front here, that comes down with a hydraulic cylinder, and then it kind of captures all this stuff and mulches it. But I'm pretty pleased with this. Might hit a little bit more, especially since we're going to be pulling hay off this field maybe in the next year or two. You want this stuff to be broken down so it doesn't mess up a hay bind or something. But if you look at the machine, it's probably 7 foot tall, and this is the stuff that I just took down, you know, real similar to the height of the machine. This machine's capable of tackling up to a 9-inch round tree. My main intentions of this is taking down 2-3-inch little trees, saplings, stuff like that. So this is the next one I'm going to tackle here. I'm going to put the GoPro up on top of the machine and hopefully get some better footage. Man, what a cool machine this is. I love when people invent things to make my life easier. So we're gonna flip this around and show you what short work I made of that. It was probably 25, 30 foot high, just clump of trees. If you seen in the video, there was one there I did come into a little bit too aggressive. It sucked it in, it bared down the motor. Now I had to back off. So this is a learning curve for me. I've never ran one of these. So, you know, it's something you have to respect for sure, because there's a lot of moving parts moving very fast. So flip this around and just look how it just mulched that whole tree to pretty much nothing. And I can go over this multiple times. We're not looking to pull hay off this probably for at least a year and a half to 2 years. So this will have time to break down and compost back into the earth. But if you look over here, we actually started plucking these with an excavator and stuff, and this is what ultimately we were doing, is we were going around and plucking all these, or getting a dozer, and then you'd have a big hole in the ground, and then we were putting them in a pile, and we had piles and piles of brush that we were burning, and it's just not good to burn, especially certain times of the year. You have to get burning permits. So this is a huge time savings, because not only did the dozer just mow it all over and put it in a pile, and people think, well, that was fast, but then the time I spent burning it all. So I'm saving time on both ends here. We're gonna throw the drone up, and I'm just gonna go crazy up in this area to see what we can't get done. I might have maybe 30 minutes tied up into this and getting on and off the machine, moving cameras and stuff. So the time that it's taking me to just do these 2 trees is hardly anything. So I'm gonna throw the drone up and we'll see what we got over here. So this is about a little less than an hour that we mowed all these big shrubs and trees, mini trees down, and all this extra overgrown weeds, I'll take that down with a brush hog. The machine's capable of doing it, but there's no sense wearing out a machine that's specifically made for mulching trees and shrubbery instead of taking weeds down with it. So the drone's up. You guys could check out the difference. Really pleased with this being an end product, because now I don't have to push all this stuff in a pile and burn it and worried about getting permits, stuff like that, and inconveniencing neighbors with smoke. We're gonna walk over and check out this machine. Knock on wood, this thing is running awesome, along with the carrier YANMAR. No breakdowns, no leaks. Really pleased with the performance. Still trying to get the hang of it to perfect things, make it more efficient, but I'm gonna run this up to the barn here, blow all this off, because you don't want to keep debris on hydraulic equipment. It holds heat, and today's a beautiful day in western Pennsylvania, but it's creeping up in the 80s. I seen no issues with anything overheating, so that's good. You always got to watch your gauges, but pretty pleased with how everything's working out. Well guys, that's a wrap on this video. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to work with Diamond on getting one of these mowers out on display. It's the Diamond Pro X2 version. This is the 60-inch model. They come with the 72-inch model. If you want to reach out to Diamond, check them out on their website. They have an awesome team to work with. Every person I dealt with, from the marketing all the way down to the tech support, very informative, great people. They believe in their product, and they want everyone to be safe, and they want everyone to have a great experience with this machine, because it really does solve a lot of problems for people in certain applications where we just previously talked about. So like always, I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned to some more videos. I got this machine for about a week and a half, 2 more weeks. We're going to try to get some more stuff out. Catch you on the next one. Take care.